I'm Shirley.
I'm Brenna.
And I'm Ashley.
And today we have a couple of news stories. And our first one is about Donald Sterling and his racist remarks. Recently, Clippers owner Donald Sterling was brought to the forefront of news when his girlfriend, V. Stiviano, allegedly extorted him by releasing an audio recording of Sterling making racist remarks about her association with men of African American descent. Since the release of this recording, both Sterling and Stiviano have undergone investigation. Sterling for allegedly making these claims, and Stiviano for extorting and releasing the audio recordings to TMZ. After the recording began surfacing on the internet and the media got a hold of it, Sterling, who has owned the Clippers for 33 years, has been forced to give up his team and was banned from the NBA for life. Sterling has remained silent until recently when he started denying that he is a racist man, claiming that he has love for everyone and wants the best players on his team, not specifically white men, although many are unable to see past the remarks that were already revealed to the world.
Say.
And I took a picture with someone I admire.
Good.
And he happens to be black, and I'm sorry.
I think it's nice that you admire him. I know him well, and he should be admired. And I'm just saying that it's too bad you can't admire him privately. And during your entire life, your whole life, admire him. Bring him here, feed him, him. I don't care. You can do anything. But don't put him on an Instagram for the world has to see, so they have to call me. And don't bring him into my games, okay?
While Sterling has had to give up his team, his wife, Shelley Sterling, has high hopes that she will be able to keep the team in the family. She feels that she is legally entitled to keep the team and have ownership over the Clippers. Although the NBA is thinking that the Clippers would be better off with a new start, and having an owner outside of the Sterling family might be best in order to avoid future problems and boycotts from both players and fans. Nothing has been decided yet, but the NBA is letting the dust settle while still taking in fan response and keeping track of sponsor reactions before they make any decisions about what will happen next with the team. Here's Brenna with our next story.
Thank you, Shirley. A 16-year-old girl, Marin Sanchez, was stabbed to death at Jonathan Law High School in Milford, Connecticut on Friday, April 25th. The 16-year-old suspect, Chris Plaskin, allegedly asked Sanchez to prom, but was denied, which resulted in the violent attack in the stairwell of the school, where she was stabbed in the body and neck. Sanchez died on scene. The CT Post reports that Plaskin is now being held in an age-appropriate correctional facility. As a Milford resident, I was able to get an inside scoop with Suzanne McKeever, a paraprofessional at law. Here's a clip from the interview. To your knowledge, what happened?
It was Friday. It was the day of our junior prom, and a student attacked another student in a hallway, a stairwell at school, fatally stabbing them. It started out pretty normal that day. I arrived at school. I walked down to my first class, put my bags down. First period did not begin yet. It was before the beginning of first period, and I went to go retrieve some of my students and walk them down to the first period class, and I only made it a few steps out of my classroom before somebody screamed, "We have to block the hallway, somebody's hurt in the stairs." And at that point, that was the only information I had, and I blocked the hallway and never moved from that position until we got the sad news that it had been a fatal attack.
How is the school coping with it?
Well, immediately after the incident, school was dismissed because it had now become a crime scene and they needed to close off the school. So we all went home. The principal sent out the sad news that the student who was attacked had sadly passed away. There wasn't all that much to do. We had regular updates over the weekend, and the administrators had checked in with us and with the parents of other students who were very scared and bewildered. Over the weekend, we did not have school on Monday. Actually, we did. The employees went in. We went in. The students did not have school. They really needed another day to cope, and frankly, the administrators were still devastated. All the staff needed a day to just go in and regroup. get our bearings and try to somehow help the students cope with this. And the staff was unbelievable. We had grief counselors, we had trauma specialists. They all came in. We had therapy dogs come in. They discussed with us the best way to handle students who were upset. They encouraged us to speak because, quite frankly, the staff was devastated. And the administrators had a plan in place so that when the students returned, we were prepared to handle the outpouring of grief that we knew would come. We've had lots of community members coming forth and putting flowers and other remembrances at the memorial that's set up out in front. And the community really came together and helped to organize a wonderful vigil for her that really helped everybody start to heal. It was very nice.
Can you describe the vigil?
The vigil was really amazing. All her friends came together. The family was there. It really was almost like a memorial service. It was just it was really nice how much the community came together and participated. I've heard different estimates. I would have to say probably over 2,000 people there. It was sad that there was an absolute ton of media there, and the police officers had to remove some people who weren't very respectful. Some of the media actually hid microphones in the memorial flowers to try to capture what the students were saying. I do believe that one of them was arrested for that. The vigil had the choir singing. It had one of her friends performing a song she wrote. The final song that they played was actually a recording of Marin performing a song in which she won the student talent show with that performance. At the time the performance was playing, a lot of balloons were released. It was actually very emotional to hear her own voice closing out the vigil. You really felt the support in how many members of the community and people who didn't even know her showed up to support the family, her family, as well as the Law family in general, who all felt the loss.
Will remain at the school for providing comfort and relief during this difficult time. According to the CT Post, there will be no funeral service and the burial will be private. Plaskin will be tried as an adult and have his second court hearing on June 4th. Here's Ashley with our next story.
Thank you, Brenna. My story is about this year's Boston Marathon winner. After last year's tragic bombing at the Boston Marathon, this year's race meant more to our nation than ever before. Meb Keflezighi, 38 years old from San Diego, California, won the marathon in his personal record-breaking time of 2 hours, 8 minutes, and 37 seconds. It has been 31 years since an American has won the Boston Marathon. Keflezighi said to the Boston Globe that this is probably the most meaningful victory for an American just because of what happened last year. USA Today reported Keflezighi explaining the victims of last year's bombing helped carry me through. He carried the names of all 4 that died in last year's explosion on his racing bib. The marathon winner said he was not expecting to win this year due to his age, turning 39 this month, and the intimidation of the Kenyan runner that has won the Boston Marathon for the past 19 years. Keflezighi is actually the oldest man to win the marathon since 1983. He has said many times in an article with CBS that he was so motivated by last year's tragedy to win the marathon as an American. He said he just kept thinking, Boston strong, Meb strong. The undaunted runner explained that he wanted to bring home a victory, just as the Red Sox had done earlier this year.
Each of these stories has already spread to a nationwide audience. It's frightening to think and see that such occurrences like these can happen to us, but we should always strive to stay positive.
The impact of the high school tragedy is so terrifying because of the safe haven a school is supposed to represent. The Boston Marathon runner, Meb Keflezighi, gives us hope that there are good people and good intentions still out there.
Racism is an issue that is so prevalent in today's society, but we can help by encouraging others to think as equals. Whether good or bad, we will never forget such powerful tragedies and sincere memories for years to come. Thanks for watching. This is Ashley.
Brenna.
And Shirley.
Signing off.
off.